Alright, so let's go through here real quick, see if we can find something that we want to look at. For anybody that doesn't know, this is finviz.com. You can go here and try to help you find and screen for some stocks. I mainly use it for swing trading, to try to find some stuff to swing trade and get into. Like this HBM right here, this looks pretty good. It's sitting on that support. Go way ahead. It's got 79% institutional ownership, so that's good. That's very good. Very, very good. So let's just go. We'll go look at it real quick. You can go to the chat, any of the chats, either the public chat or the subscriber chat, and then type !! swing, I believe it is, and it'll bring up a video on how to use FinViz to help you find swing trades. Let's kick this back some. Let's jump this up. Alright. So just real quick, when you do, you can grab something like this, pop this on here. And so since we've seen it on here on a very good uptrend, we just laid a line out for our uptrend. Say you want to get in this for a little few day swing, most likely to the next point where it comes up to its resistance line there. You can use TradingView and Vision to do so. Just kind of throw you a rough line in there, and you can see it kind of curling back right here, which is good. And then all you're going to do is you're going to wait for a buy signal right here to pop up off of this line, and then it'll continue to make its upward trend there. It'll continue to go this way after. So very simple, easy way to get some very good swing trades. And then of course you can send an alert for these signals.
What's the time frame on that?
4 hour. I use the 4 hour to swing trades, so I'll pop that video up for everybody real quick in the public chat. Alright, so now that we got that taken care of, let me go to, let's go to Tesla here. I'm going to go to 5 minute, and then I'm going to turn on the VWAP indicator. So I went over this last night in, we can keep that on, I guess. I went over this last night in the subscriber chat. So anybody that doesn't know what a VWAP indicator is, it's a volume weighted average price. So it's the price, basically the average price that everybody has shares in a certain stock. So this one's Tesla, so this is going to show kind of everybody's average price. And it's a super, super powerful indicator because you can basically use it as a moving resistance and support line. And so if it breaks through it, either way, towards the upside or downside, it's going to move with momentum if it breaks through it. But something like this, you can see that it didn't exactly break through it. So we'll go over that and why. Let's kind of kick this up a little bit. So anyway, you see that it couldn't break through it to the top, up here in the top left of the screen. Couldn't break through it right here. So it fell. And it fell with a lot. And so you see it come up here, kind of pull back a little bit, and it comes up and it tests the VWAP right here. Can't break through it, so it falls back down. Comes up, pulls back, tests it again, comes back down. Can't break through it, so it's going to come back down off of it. You can use this on any stock. It does not matter what it is. It'll work the same on every one of them. So you see that it's riding the top of it here, comes down, kind of goes underneath it here, and then comes back up. And so it's kind of using it as a support until it falls completely through. So then it falls a little bit. Kind of tests it right there, but then it keeps coming. Tests it right here, comes back down. And so it can't keep going throughout the rest of the day here, and so it just falls off. Same thing here. It's on top of it here, kind of sitting on top of it here. Finally falls through, falls down a good bit. You see it comes back up. Test it right here. Can't break through it, so it falls hard. Comes up, pulls back, test it, pulls back a little bit, and finally breaks through it. And so when it finally breaks through it, now it's going to move with some momentum, like I was talking about. So when it falls through towards the bottom, or comes through for use as a resistance, it's going to move with some momentum behind it either way. So it's a very good way to, you can use this to day trade with, and it works great. So if you see something that is kind of testing the VWAP for as a resistance here, and then it comes up and you see it finally get up above it, get through it, and start to close, and the candle closes right here above it, then you can get in and kind of use it as a breakout strategy. And then here you see it come back down. It rests on the support now that it's using. It's going to use that VWAP as a support. Come up, pull back, comes up. So you just right here, if you got in right here, once it tested it and you seen that it's going to use it as a support, you could have easily got in there and made some money in those that little run right there. Same thing. I mean, you see it pushes up above it, but it never closes above it. So they just let it fall down. And so right here, kind of comes up above it, kind of finds some support, but it's a really weak support, so it just falls through. Same thing here, weak support, falls through, and then it stays below it here. Next day, it just dies. So here it doesn't close above it, so it falls. Finally closes above it, comes up on it, and then finding support. You could play these little runs easily right here. Find support, little bump, comes below it, and then starts playing on it, and then finally dies off. So I recommend everybody to use maybe tomorrow the VWAP indicator on your chart. It'll definitely help you day trading and kind of see what's going on. I know a lot of us that do the SPY stuff. I'll show you what I like to do on the SPY. Is when it comes away from the VWAP a good bit, it's guaranteed to come at least back to it. So you can kind of play that. So when you see it get away from it a good bit, you could easily, once it starts to turn around, put some get some put options there and just run it back down very easily. So you see this big move away from it towards the downside, comes back and comes back to the VWAP every time. So then it pushes back down, comes back to it, pushes back down, comes back to it. Same patterns all the time. So big move down, comes back to it, big move down, same deal. Same stuff. And it works when it goes above it too. So you see like right here, it gets above it, comes back down. Gets above it quite a bit here, comes back down. Gets below it quite a bit here, comes back to it easily. Anybody have any questions on it? I hope everybody can still hear me. Cool. Man, so I see your question in the chat there. I'm not really sure what you mean. How do you work your charting when daily trading with Vision? I'm assuming that you just mean like support and resistance lines. Which if you missed last Sunday, I'll go briefly over it for you real quick. So let's go to something, a good example. SRNE, that's a real good example there. Let me clear this up. And then we'll go, what we want to do is we want to go to a pretty long time frame. Not 1 month, let me go to 1 week. And then we want to take some just basic horizontal lines and start getting them basically on the peaks here. They don't have to be perfect. You're just wanting to grab like these most important ones here. we see some right here. We see some right there. And we can get these right down here. Kind of split that one there. And then we can get this main support down here around 148. Let's go ahead and grab these right here. Okay, so now that we have our horizontal lines on a longer time frame, now we can start moving down the time frames and see which one's stuck and which ones we need to kind of adjust there. We can move that one. I'm going to split that bit right there. I'm going to add this one in right here. And again, they don't have to be perfect. They're just trying to get a decent reference off of it. So grab that. And then so go to 4 hour. 4 hours what I use for swing trading. We'll grab, see a lot of points right here. A lot of spots in there, so we'll grab that one. And so we can go to the 5 minute here. And now you can kind of see within those lines, you know, where it's probably going to play at. So if it finds support right here on this line, there's a really good chance that it's going to continue and probably bounce off of this line, because these are all very, very strong key areas. And if we let's see here, I'm going to put a little horizontal ray to let's see, let's go to this point here. And we'll kind of click back to a daily here. So you can see all these little points that it's probably using too. So you can grab some of them. Mainly I always worry about just the highest key points there. So we can grab one, we'll put it right here just to line that one. But SRNE is one very, very good swing stock. So if it gets down in the money, you definitely want to start buying it up. I mean, even as it goes down, it likes to run from this $2 area all the way back up towards $20 every time. You know, if it gets down here, like let's say right here, we got right at basically $1.50, and it ran to over almost $11 right here on this little bit. Same thing with here, it got down to about $2 and came back up to probably around 6.50, 7. So it's a real good one to get in for swings. You can see, I mean, if it starts to find support right here, you can start watching this on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and if it starts to find support right here and curl back, you know where it's going to start needing to. It's going to need to break through this line at 840, and then you know if it breaks through that, then it's probably going to go straight here to about 885. And then continue. If it doesn't, then you know where it's going to fall back down to. And so if it breaks through here, then you have a really good idea of where it's going to fall to. And so you can start watching those levels, and you'll definitely see once it starts to, if it kicks back and curls back at one of these levels, that's where it's going to find support and start to take back off. Where's maybe? Well, I mean, wedges, if you get lucky, you'll be day trading them. But by the time you usually find out about, you know, a wedge breakout, it's usually hitting the scanner anyway, and the scanner is what brings your attention to them. Wedges are really good for swing trading, in my opinion, because, you know, you can kind of get in them early. Because if you go to like a uptrending wedge, like a wedge up, as FinBiz calls it, you can go, let's see, we'll find wedge up here. You go to wedge up. So here's a pretty good example of one. Here's another good example of one. These are going to be trending up. So basically you're going to be swing trading them in hopes that once it comes to the end of the wedge, or maybe if they get good news and you get lucky a little earlier, it breaks out of that wedge and starts to run, and you make really a good amount. of money per shares. That's what I would normally do with wedges. I mean, because like I said, normally when they start going off and breaking out and everything, you're going to be hearing about them from the scanner. And so then this same charting type right here, where you're finding the lows and the highs, and you're putting the lines on there to see the most key levels. That's where you would still use that. So it's basically the same thing. You just mean about TradingView? Well, this is what I mean. Just figuring out your trend lines and your support and resistance lines, and that's all I mean, really. Um, you might have. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, mainly I just go off of what Vision tells me, but when I do put my support and resistance lines in there, that kind of gives me a sight on where the price action and stuff should be going. So let's see. Let me get my little. So once you've seen it come up here, and you've seen it test right here one time, and then it pulls back and comes up and tests here again, there's a really good chance that that's going to fall because it couldn't break it the first or second time. Yeah, don't. Yeah, yeah, definitely don't be going and throwing a bunch of crap on there. I mean, you can do it if you want, but uh, I just find it kind of confuses you of what really you need to be looking at. You know.
Right, yeah, that's what I found out as well. Like, that's exactly I wasn't knowing what's going on, but when I started to do it, just simple, like it makes sense.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get rid of some of these lines here. No, I guess not. So yeah, it's really just keep it simple, and then use Vision, and then like I said, if it comes here Monday, Tuesday, and it looks like it's going to start to kick back up here, you know that the 678 is a really good strong support, and it should just come straight on up here to around 845. Over the course of a few days, of course, but uh huh. Yeah, yeah, you use it the same way though, because event like most likely that it's not the first time that stock's doing that run, or a run like it anyway. A lot of times they'll do like that same type of move. It could be 4 or 5 years ago. Then you could still use those support and resistance lines, and the reason why is because everybody else that knows what they're doing is using those same support and resistance lines. So let me go. Let me see if I can get this 3 minute. This one may or may not here, but we'll see. No, I don't want trend line. Let's see. The start of this day was right here, and so when it comes up and finds a high, well, when it finds a low, you wanna pop a line on there for a low. You wanna wait till it finds the first high of the day, and put a line right there as well. And immediately you see it fall. Where'd it fall to? The same area, the same low that it did earlier in the morning. And so it comes right back up off of that, and you don't really have to worry about making another line until it makes a new high. Now that high, I don't know if I would have counted it because the candles themselves, the bodies, they don't really come up out of there. So it's basically a test. Some people might call it a fake out, but it didn't really break out. And again, once it tested it again and it couldn't break out, what did they do? They let it fall down. Where did it stop? Same spot. And so it came up, tested that same spot again, fell down. Tested same spot again, fell down. And this is all the same day. So you see how that works there. You can on pre-market. You know, I don't. It really won't matter to you much because there's not really too many people that are trading pre-market just because it's a gamble most of the time, especially here lately. But you can, you definitely can. But just going on what I was just talking about, where you see this low, first low of the day that it makes, you put your line there, you put your line at the first high, and then you're just watching it. Once you watch this come down, touch this support here, come up, touch that resistance and fall back down, you could have easily, once you've seen it making support on that same level, got in there and rode it right back up to the support and made close to probably 25 cents a share on that run right there. But you see right here, let me get my other little marker deal. The next day, when it broke this line, what happened? It took off. It started running. That's why this is called a breakout right here. And so there's a lot of people that trade what's called a breakout strategy, and this is all they do. They chart out right here day to day. They let it find the low, they let it find the high, and they're watching these points like this, and they're just waiting for it to break out. And so when it broke out here, boom, what happened? It fell back down like everything does, and it finds a support now on that old resistance. And then it comes up, finally breaks through it. It can't break through it right there. It tested it, finally gets it back above it, and starts using it as support again. Comes up some more, hits it, and then once it breaks through it this time, they just let it fall down. And what happened there? Found support on our old support again, and then came back, and when it breaks that support, there's something going on, and they let it die. And so you can see that same level, it's still playing. It comes up. I would consider this a test of that same old support, but now a resistance level. And it tested it and fell back down, and comes up again, tested it right there, and it just couldn't break it. So it's falling back down. So probably tomorrow it's going to come up and test this again. And so you would want to watch it right here on this level at a 707 level, because if it breaks it this time, if it comes back above it here, it's most likely going to move with some momentum again. And at least probably come up and test itself right here on that old resistance again. It's just, this is the same repetitive thing that you should be doing each day. It's very, very easy to find, once the market hours usually start, that's where I go off of. I don't usually start charting off of pre-market. But like I said, you come here, and so this would have been, try to ignore the rest of the stuff off here to the right. But this would have been our low of the day. And so when you see it start to take back off, that's when you would watch it and wait to plot out your high of the day so far. And boom, there you go. It's that simple. Now you can start trading in here. If you want to, you can start trading within that. And they usually call that trading within the range. They usually call this the daily range. Because most of the time, there's a lot of stuff that will break out of these levels on a day-to-day, but a lot of times they'll just kind of trade within those levels. And so you can see on this day, in fact, it did. It just traded within that daily range. And then the next day, it broke out of it, and then it continued to fall back down. But so like this right here, you grab the low, grab the high, first ones of the day, and then you can start trading within those, basically within those walls. And then, of course, if it's hitting the scanners and you do this, it's most likely going to break whatever upper resistance that you had before. So if it breaks this, continues up here, comes back down, probably going to find a support right there, and you'd watch it. It'd probably do one of these numbers, but as soon as it makes this other high, you want to put a line there as well. And so when you see it right here, when you see it break that line, it's going to start running again. and so you could get in like I do. You know, I like to, if I play the breakout strategy, I'm going to play right there as soon as it breaks through it, and I notice that it's going to actually start to move, then that's where I would get in. A lot of people will play like this off support. You know, once it comes up, they'll enter down here, and they'll either play it to this resistance line, or they'll play it through it if it wants to go. Just like right here, you could have watched this level right here, this whoop, it's seen, okay, it's finding support right here. You could have got in, came up, it's just a little pullback, it made a higher low, so, and you could have sold it right there, because you don't know that it's going to break through that resistance, but you do know it's most likely just going to at least come back to it. So then you see it fall, you see it find a support again right here. You could have got in right there, rode it right back to that resistance, got out of it. Same thing here. You could have got in here, rode through all this mess, and sold it right there at that resistance line. It's the same stuff. I mean, it's the same thing every day. Start putting these lines on your chart, and you'll be like, man, this is easy. And you'll wish you would have been doing it the whole time. Oh yeah, yeah. You can use vision on pre-market. I don't like to personally trade pre-market or after hours. You know, like I tell a lot of people, you know, the beginning of this summer was super great for pre-market. Uh, you know, it took a lot of trades in the beginning of the summer, and then it just started to kind of die down. You know, seemed like there was a lot more people in the beginning of the summer than you know, and then it kind of just seemed like the people just weren't there trading pre-market. So I just decided to start staying out of it and just only trade basically during the market hours. Yeah, they'll work. They'll work in pre-market. Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're going to be going off of, you know, previous stuff. Like if you ever hear anybody say look left, that's exactly what they're talking about. They're saying, you know, grab a daily chart or a longer time frame chart, and look left, you know, and then start plotting you some lines off these previous day movers. You know, like all these little high points and low points and stuff. Just start putting some lines in there, and then if the charting platform that you use, you know, it allows it, those lines will still be there when you switch back to your 1 minute, 5 minute, 15-minute charts. And so you'll start to see exactly where that stuff's probably going to be trading, even in pre-market.
Hey Darren, have you put any much weight on to the indicator of the Bollinger Band?
Oh, I don't mess with them. I know a lot of people, I guess, use them, but I'm not a big fan of them. Yeah, I think it's just honestly, you know, and this is just my opinion, I think it's just another indicator that takes the important stuff away from the chart. Like the most powerful indicator you can have is your support and resistance lines, in my opinion. Well, I guess vision, and then support and resistance lines, and then stuff maybe like if I had to grab two more, it would be the VWAP line and the RSI. I think those with vision is a killer combo.
That's perfect. Thanks. I have those too, so.
Sweet. Hell yeah. Good deal. So, does anybody else have any questions? Hey, not much, buddy. Well, I know exactly what I'm going to go with while pre-market's going on. You've watched that scanner that I always toss around, right? The one on YouTube, the live one. Nah, let me make sure you know what I'm talking about. I just put it in the public chat. It's that guy that streams live on YouTube. That's all I look at. I look at who has the top volume pre-market, and like you see me post the watch list about 8:30. No, not 8:30. 9 o'clock. Sorry, I was going off of Eastern time or whatever. You see me post the watch list about 9 o'clock, my time, Central Time, 30 minutes before the market opens, because a lot can change in just a few minutes. So I wait till basically right before the market opens. I look at who has the top volume, not necessarily who's moved the most, but who has the top volume, and that's who I'm watching for the rest of the day. And then as the day goes on, that scanner there will start screaming stuff out to you. So if something starts going, yeah. So just like that. Mm-hmm. All right. If nobody else has any questions, I'll cut this short because it is going on YouTube. Jeremy S. asked a question: what does RSI stand for? RSI stands for Relative Strength Index. And so, just a quick, let me bring it up here so I can show you exactly. I didn't want to add vision 2 times. My bad. Damn it, didn't add it. There, nope. I forgot it adds at the bottom. My bad. Okay, so you see these 2 dashed lines, these dotted lines here. One's at 30, one's at 70. When something gets down to 30, that's the oversold line. So that means, okay, hey, it's oversold here. Too many people are selling it. It should really start to go back up. And so when it gets to the 70 line, that's the overbought line. That just means the opposite. The overbought line means, hey, there's too many buyers. This thing needs to come back down to earth. Okay, and you see right here, this is probably going to make, just within that little window on the daily chart, you can see if you put just a rough trend line in here and grab most of these points that you can see basically there's a really good trend there. And where's that RSI bottomed out at right now? 30. So that means that it's oversold. And where's it bottomed out on the chart? On our trend line. So basically we're watching for that sucker to start reversing right there, and it's a swing trade. And so you can sit here and you can ride it from 30 RSI back up to 70 and sell it and not even ever have to really look at the chart, It's going to kind of bounce around in between a lot of times, but sometimes it'll go over and sometimes it'll go under, but basically it's usually always going to bounce in that zone. Yep. Yes, sir. Alrighty. And of course, if you guys want to see how I use FinViz to find swing trades, just go to the chat and type !swing, and it'll bring up that video. But if nobody has any questions, I'm gonna cut it short because I gotta chop it up and throw it on YouTube, so people that didn't get to watch it right now, they can watch it later.